Representative Lauren Boebert, Republican of Colorado, is blaming Hollywood stars Ryan Reynolds and Barbara Streisand as part of the reason why she decided to switch districts. Boebert accused Hollywood stars of trying to buy her current congressional district by donating to her Democratic opponent, Adam Frisch, in an interview on Steve Bannon's War Room podcast Saturday. She said the reason for switching from the state's 3rd congressional district to the 4th congressional district was about how we can best defend and advance conservative principles. But we need a strong voice there, and we have to shut down the Hollywood elites who are trying to buy my current district, she said. There has been close to 10 million poured into this district to buy the seat, and Colorado's 3rd district is not for sale. Boebert announced her district switch last week, meaning she will be avoiding a rematch with Frisch. She narrowly defeated Frisch in the 2022 midterms by about 546 votes. Since then, Frisch has outraised Boebert with $7.7 million for his campaign compared with her $2.2 million. Boebert has repeatedly said she will not allow dark money to steal this seat. She echoed that sentiment in a recent interview, again reiterating that her opponents are being funded by Hollywood. It's coming from Hollywood when you have Barbara Streisand coming in and donating to the Democrat, when you have Ryan Reynolds coming in and donating to the Democrat. She said it shows you that Hollywood is trying to buy their way into Congress. According to Federal Election Commission filings, Streisand donated $1,000 to Frisch campaign in April, while Reynolds donated $500 in March. Boebert will now be running for Representative Ken Buck's seat, which comes after he announced his plans to seek re-election last year. The switch opens up the GOP nomination for the state's 3rd congressional district, giving the Republican candidate a stronger chance of defeating Frisch, as Boebert has been riddled by controversies during her tenure. She has been ridiculed as well. This is a pretty amusing story. Okay, let's pretend what she's saying is true. That Hollywood elites are trying to buy the 3rd congressional seat of Colorado. We've discussed before that you have Citizens United, and there actually is a conversation to be had about big contributions from, the NRA and pharmaceutical companies, that these different organizations that give money to politicians to do their bidding and to advance their interests. So there is dark money in politics in the classical sense of there are donations that influence votes and otherwise make politicians the lapdogs of the various special interest groups that try to fund them. But when I see that Streisand donated 1,000 and Reynolds donated 500, I don't really see how they're trying to buy this district. They're Democrats. They don't like Boebert. She has, whether she likes it or not, become one of the more well-known newer members of the House. So when people don't like a person who is a member of Congress, or even just, any politician from the opposing party, they tend to donate to their opponents. And, it'd be different if Streisand and Ryan were giving, $100 million. But if all it takes for her to jump from her congressional district to another one is 2 celebrities donating a combined $1,500, that shows you that it must not take much to scare her. Oh man, I'm just laughing at the idea that you say this district is not up for sale. Well, if that's true, why don't you stay as the person running for the Republican nomination for the 3rd congressional district in Colorado, and show them that close to 10 million to supposedly buy the seat is not going to work. That your voters, but see, she doesn't, because she's scared. She knows that she barely beat Frisch last time around. And the person with the most money in elections tends to win. It's not every time, but it happens a lot. So she knows she's probably going to lose if she runs against him again. And for that reason, she's trying to play it safe with this switch to another district. She will not allow dark money to steal this seat. Man, get out of my face. Any Republican politician that takes money from the NRA or from a pharmaceutical company is already letting dark money buy their seat. Even if it supports them, they're going out of their way to support special interest groups instead of the people. And that's really what's so frustrating about this story, because there is an actual conversation to be had about the contributions of special interest groups and how much money we can give to politicians to begin with. Like, it's normal people do not donate hundreds of dollars to campaigns or thousands. um but if a celebrity is only giving a few hundreds or something that is within that 2,700 line that I've heard before, so within the limit of what is allowed to give, I don't see how they're trying to buy the seat. It's like, if I really despised, for example, Trump, and he ends up being the Republican nominee, and I go and donate to Biden, assuming he's the Democratic nominee, am I trying to buy the White House? Like, that's why I said it's just stupid. So anytime somebody donates to them, they're being a good conservative supporting other conservatives in other states. But if they donate to their opponent, they're trying to buy and steal and use dark money to take their congressional seats. Just nuts. We saw the same thing when Cruz was up against O'Rourke in Texas, where you had Cruz's supporters talking about California money, and it was like, I think it's insane that people donate to politicians from other states all the time, mostly during presidential campaigns, but there have been some congressional races as well, especially when you donate to the DNC or RNC. Your money is being divided up among various politicians instead of one in particular. So to dismiss where their funds are coming from on the basis of what state it's in, but it goes back to the thing of how when you donate to the person that they like, you're a good old fashioned patriot conservative in one of those liberal hellholes trying to help out against the evils of liberalism. But then when you donate to someone that they don't like, you have dark money and you're trying to buy this seat. Ugh. And again, the problem with somebody like Boebert is that these people come so close to saying something I can agree with, right? Like we were talking about the corrupting influence of money in politics, but they're not addressing that. In fact, oftentimes they are direct beneficiaries of that, because it's nice to live in America and look at somebody like Boebert. You've got this lady that had, you know, a kid when she was 18, a grandma at 36, got her GED right before the election. You look at someone like that and you say, oh, it's great that in America, a person who, maybe had like a rough background, young mother can rise to Congress and take part in but in actuality, these people are propped up because they don't actually stand for anything. She goes and gives her speech about, securing the border and defeating socialists and all this other generic crap that you would hear Trump say, and that's how they win these seats. They're not taking any type of actual stand or passing some legislation that helps people's lives. It's really just a bunch of clowns in fancy suits and dresses that get propped up for the sake of appearing as avatars for more devious and non-concerned with voters' lives priorities. I guarantee you, Boebert, if she wins and gets another term, another 2 years in the House, you will not be able to name one piece of legislation that she was involved with or drafted or wrote that became law and that helped anyone's life in any way. It's the same thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's the same thing with, this is what they do. These people, they get propped up. They get to pretend that they're regular people like you and me. Ooh, I have, 4 kids by the time before I'm 32. But in actuality, they're just repeating talking points for whatever think tank, whether it's the Heritage Foundation or any of these other groups. And that's why I really, it doesn't bother me one way or the other if she stays or doesn't stay. I just think it's funny that she's trying to like pretend donations from celebrities, minor ones at that, are the like driving force of getting her to abandon her district. And it's just so sad that like this is what counts for a lawmaker in, yeah, now it's 2024. Like in modern America, all these politicians do is sit in office for 2 years. Maybe they give some speech on the House floor and then run for another term where they basically do the exact same thing, which is act as a mouthpiece for their side, vote with whoever the president of their party was, overwhelmingly, and they just don't stand for anything. Like she's just interested in getting another term. That's why she can just, in the same breath where she says my district is not up for sale, run away from her district when it appears that she's going to lose re-election or very likely to have a challenging race at the very least. So I like the talk of dark money. I think that's a conversation we should have more often with Citizens United, but this is not the lady to do anything about that. She is another beneficiary of that same system.